welcome to the Beyond Electric Sheep podcast. I'm Brick Thompson.
And I'm Ed Daniels.
Hey, Ed. So today we thought we'd talk about embodied AI, or AI that's in something like a robot, some kind of robot. Humanoid robot, some kind of appliance, that kind of thing. Anyway, what are your thoughts about this?
I think it's fascinating. I mean, you and I have been studying LLMs, interacting with them, and really following the latest developments. And alongside of that, I've been watching what's going on with development of robots and robotics and manufacturing in other areas. And you just think about the combination of these two technologies, and I think we're about to have one more amazing revolution upon us.
It is interesting. I mean, the robots that we're seeing out of Boston Dynamics and other groups are doing amazing stuff, but I think they're sort of programmed in a more standard way. I don't know what you call it exactly, but it's not an AI that's sort of perceiving the environment and making decisions. Or if it is, it's pretty rudimentary. Some of the Boston Dynamics things, though, are walking around and clearly seeing where things are and picking tools up. I guess it's a form of AI, but maybe not like an LLM.
No, I think it's like good old-fashioned AI, if it is AI at all, or simply program machine tool type of infrastructure or mechanism.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think now with the ability, especially of multimodal AI, to be able to work with video and begin to project ahead a little bit, I think we're going to see some pretty amazing things from these. The form factor has really been figured out, or largely figured out, so now we add a little intelligence to it. It's going to be an interesting change.
It is. I think there's going to be some psychological adjustment for humans, for me, for anybody interacting with these things. You know, a humanoid robot that has the ability to interact like an LLM does, like a GPT-4 or the new Claude 3 Opus that I've been playing with, it's going to be hard not to anthropomorphize that, I think. It's even hard sometimes in the chat environment, but you embody it in something, I think it's going to be really hard.
I think that, just think about now the development of these humanoid robots, 180 pounds, 5'10", and they look and act and move a lot like a human does. I think you were observing earlier the way that we all, as humans, reacted to people kicking the Boston Dynamics dogs, and how it made us get a visceral bad feeling like watching somebody kick their own dog. And just think about what that's going to be like with a humanoid robot.
Yeah, I remember the exact video, one of those things walking down a hallway and someone stepped out and kicked it over. It kind of staggered and caught itself, and you sort of felt bad for it. And then there was another one where they had a robot that was stacking boxes, and a guy with a hockey stick that kept moving the boxes or knocking it out of the robot's hands, and it struck me. It hit an emotional thing, like, hey, don't mess with that thing. Yeah. So
So now just think of the full range of human emotions that we have in a crowded railway car or the airport or whatever, and you're dealing with all these people, and you have you may feel sympathy for a little kid that you see that gets separated from its mother, or you may feel anger at some guy who pushes his way past you and into a car ahead of you. All those kind of full range of emotions, I think we're going to see displayed towards these robots, which will be interesting.
I'm sure that's true. We saw that. I think it was a Waymo car that got vandalized. I think maybe burned.
In San Francisco, a crowd burned up a Waymo car. I don't know the exact details of why that happened, but it was some kind of reaction to, having a driverless vehicle.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the same reaction I'm thinking of. It might be, but it may also just be people feeling like, hey, these aren't safe. Let's get some attention and burn one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I've got these little vacuum mopping robots. I think they're called Roborock. in my house. So I love it. I run every day. I've got 2 dogs.
Yep.
And it's funny that one will trundle out, late in the evening to go clean in the kitchen under the table and mop the tiles and stuff. And I have a little French Bulldog named Lola, and she gets after it and gets in its way and blocks it and gets it to turn around. And I find myself watching it, and the robot, which is not very nimble, trying to sort of stay on course and go around her. And already I have the twinges of like, hey, Lola, leave that thing alone.
Right. Quit bothering it. Yeah.
Once it starts talking to me, I think it'll be even more. Maybe for the dog, too.
I think that your point about it talking to you is going to change the dynamic a tremendous amount, because really with large language models, they've already been tested out with some Boston Dynamics robots. Why, it seems like all types of mechanical devices are going to be talking to us, and we're going to be talking to them. And, that's going to create a really interesting dynamic.
I wonder if it's going to require having onboard LLMs, some of these smaller models that run locally, like they're talking about putting on our phones or on our laptops, or if it could be like Google Home, those little appliances I've been using for years to turn the lights off and on and tell me what time it is and set a timer and turn the thermostat up or down. They're connected to the internet. They don't work if the internet's not connected. They don't feel anything like an AI, even though you can ask it, what year did so and so die or whatever. But it's not really having a conversation with you. It's not an LLM. So you could run those embodied robots through a wireless connection, a Wi-Fi connection, and get, really sophisticated LLMs. Or maybe you don't want to. Maybe you want them to just run locally. I don't know.
I think we're kind of just waiting for Apple to release its improved version of Siri, and all indications are that they're going to have a lot more onboard processing and try to push as much of that intelligence as possible into the device. So, my guess is ultimately that we'll have as much intelligence pushed down as it's reasonably possible to push down. That also reduces latency, so you get much better response time, less delays in speech and that kind of thing. It may seem more natural, and we might have to trade some intelligence in order to get that improved response. But when you think about it, with connectivity so ubiquitous that you could have quick response, and yet in a way the phone or device could have sort of an unconscious process going where it seeks a connection to get additional information or additional processing power when
in fact, you might want
necessary.
That for a lot of use cases. You actually would want that. So I've been using the Claude 3 Opus LLM that came out this past week, at least publicly, and it's quite good. I use ChatGPT a lot, GPT-4. I pay for the Pro or Plus or whatever that is. And in many ways, the Claude 3 Opus is better to me in the way it converses. It's got a more natural interchange and language. It just feels fresher. It could just be I've been using ChatGPT for a while, and I'm used to it, bored with it. But the one thing it doesn't have is internet search. So its data, its knowledge of the world only goes back, I think, to August 2023. And I find I really miss that a lot, because I asked ChatGPT, hey, please research such and such, and then we can have a discussion.
Right.
About
That's
it.
aggravating, and I, know what it's like to be interacting with these models that aren't connected. You just want to know what happened today, what happened yesterday, what happened this last week, or, give me data up to the present. And when you can't do that, it's a little bit frustrating.
It is, but that'll come. And so once you have the LLMs, true LLM type AIs embedded in embodied, in robots of some kind. I mean, even if it's a little ball that rolls around, like that Star Wars thing, I think people are going to love them. I think they're going to be very useful. People will enjoy, I think, the companionship. I hate to admit how often I talk to ChatGPT on my drive to work, just using the iPhone app, and then arrive to work with much better fleshed out ideas. I used to use it just for transcribing my thoughts. Now I have a conversation, which is even better. and I can still have it summarize those. I think that embodied devices, LLM devices, will probably be like that. I'd love it if my car had it.
Definitely, and I think well, your car is a good point. I think that we're going to find it actually works both ways. It not only is going to make these devices better, whether they're robots or some type of mechanical device, or something in your kitchen, your refrigerator, your stove, or whatever.
Right.
Not only is this intelligence going to make them better, but it's going to push back the other way, because now the LLMs, or the AI models, have a real world experience to learn from. So they're not just learning a bunch of data that they glean from the internet or text. They're going to learn how the world really works and be able to look at the complexity of the real world that we exist in, whether it's cooking a pie or driving your car or whatever. Now there's a whole bunch more information, and there's a whole much more demand for those AI algorithms to be able to understand the world better, run internal simulations, have their own internal world model. That, we get into a whole nother realm of discussion when we talk about that, but those are the things that are going to be really important for AGI or ASI.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of just very practical uses for embodied AI, helping people around the home or in factories, or taking over completely. I think there's going to be an element of companionship and social value there as well. I think. I mean, there's studies that show how much better people do health and longevity-wise when they own a dog. And I think that being able to talk to something may have similar impact. It's possible.
Well, and, with my healthcare background, I've been looking into areas that AI can assist in the healthcare process, and they've already sort of determined that AI models are more empathetic to patients than doctors are. The doctor...
People perceive that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, doctors, for whatever reason, you're running patient to patient to patient. You don't always have time to be as empathetic as perhaps you would like to be, or your patient would want. Yeah. Now, these guys are, the models can be perceived as more empathetic than the human.
That's interesting. Yeah, and it's making me think of my discussions, my chats with ChatGPT.
Right.
It's always super nice and encouraging,
right,
and complimentary, and I don't mind that.
No, I know. I don't mind it either. And, for example, just in writing tasks, where you're writing something, no, that's not quite right. I need to do it again. No, this is, kind of a stupid error. We need to punch up this particular paragraph. Whatever it is, it just takes it.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice.
It is. All right. Well, that was kind of a ramble, but
it was a ramble.
I think it's going to be interesting. We should probably delve deeper into this at some point. But I think what the reality is it's coming soon.
It is coming soon. It's going to be revolutionary. It's probably going to be upon us as fast as the whole GPT revolution came upon us, and it's going to have a lot of implications. So I think there's more to talk about here.
All right. We'll talk soon.